soon as that comes up, we'll take off. All right, that looks like that's up. And let's go. First and foremost, I want to welcome everybody back to my little ones and my older ones. I appreciate you for being here, of course. Let me do 1 second. All right. So last week, it was a lot. It was a lot we went over. There's a lot more to go over. But before we move into the new topics of this morning, I want to go over, or at least find out how much you retained from last week. Now, this is for the 5 of you that are here, 4. So there was some homework. All right. The homework consisted of 2 things and some points that were made as far as what is going on, why it's going on, and what are you going to do about it. And then I have to make a change also to what we put in place that I wasn't thinking at the time. Sometimes you say and do things without thinking it all the way through. So I thought it all the way through. So first, before we go any further, would anyone like to unmute? And the 2 items that were as far as homework were concerned, would you like to give your input on either one?
I'm on
I
top
would.
of. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay.
Good morning.
Okay, so I would like to do the debt to income ratio. It is a comparison of the debt to income, and the debt is like the car payments, credit card, and mortgage payment, and it will all equal to 1,500. And then you have the income, which is 1,400, but the ratio doesn't match, and so it's off balance.
Perfect. Excellent job, Kayla. Thank you.
Could I do the definition of monetization?
Please.
So I did just a little bit of background research, and it could mean 2 different things. The first one would be the action or process of earning revenue from an asset, business, etc., things like that. And then it could also mean to converse, like a change asset or debt into cash, or a form easily converted into cash.
Perfect. Absolutely. Anyone else? Take a guess. Okay, we're gonna move on. Thank you, ladies. Excellent job on both. So I wanted to also touch on, just go into a smaller version of that so everyone catches it, and where you will see how it's playing against you, or I would say against you, because both of them are against you. Not with you, but against you, and how you are judged by both. Uh, as you already know, if you didn't already, um, all of us are judged with a certain number. Okay. And basically that number is called a credit score, right? So the credit score is basically where you are at in a financial readout. How much stuff have you bought? Did you pay it off on time? Do you pay your bills on time? They're watching all of that. So that number is watching all of that. And you are based off of that number. Okay. So you will hear people as you grow up, you'll hear people say, you're nothing but a number. Well, that's kind of true and not at the same time. It's true because remember, like I said, when you were born, they took you into the next room and they got up a piece of paper and said that, okay, um, little Montalvo was born and we have this document. And at the top of that document somewhere, and you can look now if you like, if you have a birth certificate or if mom or dad has your birth certificate, ask them to pull it out. And then look at the top left on most of them in the center bottom or bottom right. There's going to be a category of numbers. Okay. At the top of that document, that certificate is what it's called, is the owner of the property within. Now, the property is you. Okay. The numbers that are associated to you and somewhat the physical you. Okay. So on that document, the certificate of live birth, there is a number, and that number is associated to a bond, or they monetize, here's that word, they monetize the actual document. The one you get is just a piece of paper that says that you were born on this day, this hour, and you were okay, and all this. Your names are put on there and all that. That's all you see. There's another document that is put together on a specific kind of paper. It's not even really called paper, it's called linen. And that document, remember the document that they put your handprint or your footprint on it, that was your signature. Remember we talked about the signature. Well, that number that we're talking about is your bond number. Okay, remember I told you that the day you were born, that certificate that you do not see or have not seen or never will see was put in a file cabinet, and that number that is associated with you on that certificate number or the bond number has a number, and that's how they keep track of it. The other number is your social security number. Okay, that is your credit line. That's what they built and have built hundreds and hundreds of stores, buildings, companies. They've bought this or sold that under your number. Okay, remember there's a number associated with the bond that you are at the current moment not allowed to see because there's a massive amount of money connected to it. All right, so just keep that in mind. So let's talk about this credit score or this number that you are associated with in the financial world. Okay. At your age right now, except for maybe 3 of you, it really doesn't matter. It does, but not yet. But I want you to know about it and how to protect it. So when you start getting into the world, you don't go the opposite direction, which is very, very easy. Very easy. Unfortunately, we're going to pick on you, Jaden, today because you're already in that arena. So don't feel any kind of way. I have to use someone as an example since you're already there. It just makes it a little easier. All right. So the credit score. The credit score is your number and they watch it very, very carefully. You will do things with your credit score. You will be allowed to do certain things with your credit score, and you will be denied from doing certain things because of your credit score. So, how do we get a proper credit score at your age? Simple. It's called financial literacy. When you know what not to do before you get old enough to do it, that scenario doesn't happen. And a lot of you, very shortly, I would say somewhere around 2 weeks from now, are going to be generating um, the ability to create a awesome credit score at your age. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do it. So that's first, the credit score. Now, the credit score is based off of several things, not just how much money you make. That really doesn't matter. They want to see what you do with it. Okay, do you get a credit line and then pay it off? Do you get a bunch of credit lines and don't pay nothing? Do you keep money in the bank? Now, that's a controversy at the moment because of what's going on in our financial stability in this country, basically in the world right now. So you really have to pay attention to this information because things are changing. But I still have to talk about the bank because that's what's in place right now. And it won't hurt to know this knowledge. It may come back again, but the next time it comes back, it's going to be a lot different, and you will be so much further advanced because you're getting this information now. Like I said, and I'm pretty sure most of the adults on here, unless they're adults or their parents were really involved in finances and really understood it, most, if not all of us, were not given this kind of information at your age. I assure you. Now, like I said, there are some examples. And those people right now, uh, young adults, are very, very well off. They have homes, cars, credit lines, 600, 700 credit scores, and they're in their 20s. It's not a lot of them, but they do exist. Um, One moment. Hello? Okay, so they do exist. So let's look at the first one. Debt to income ratio. Now, that is a statement that you will hear right away. As soon as you go in the bank and try to do something official outside of cashing a check or, you know, maybe getting a money order or something notarized. When you go in there to buy a car, to buy a house, a boat, anything of substantial amount, your credit score is going to come into question. And then your debt to income ratio is going to come into question immediately. First, debt is discussed. So let's talk about most of you or all of you are going to buy a car one day. Some of you a little sooner than others because you need transportation. And I would prefer you have your own transportation. Do not take rides. And there's a couple reasons for that, and I'll hit that in a second. Let me write that down because it's really important that you understand this rides stuff and the consequences of such. But anyway, you're going to walk in that bank and you're going to sit down with the banker and you're going to first probably go to a car lot and you're going to go find a car that you like and all that good stuff. And they're going to say, well, you can either finance it here or you can go to the bank and get what you need. You need a down payment. Okay, you need a down payment. You're going to put money down to get it. Most of the time, it's 20%. So you're talking 3, maybe 35, depends on the amount of the car. This is why I said I don't want you guys, even though you will have the capabilities of doing so, just trust me on this one. Do not buy a $70,000 car for your first car. Don't do it. I don't care if you got 300,000 in the bank. Your first car should not be a very, very expensive car because you're going to make mistakes. Okay, you're going to back into stuff, you're going to do all that. I already talked about that one. But let's talk about the conversation of debt. All right, so let's, for argument's sakes, to make it easier, let's say that this car is $15,000. All right, it's a decent car. It's probably 5, maybe 6 years old. It's not a whole lot of money, but it's a lot when you don't have it. All right, $10 is a lot when you don't have it. Get to the counter and something be $11 and you only have 9. It's a lot of money, right? Small version. So let's say 15,000 is the car, and you have a job. I think we talked about at McDonald's, making we'll just say $400. You got to take taxes out of that, so 3 something. But we're gonna keep the numbers easy. $400. All right. So the car is 15,000. So when you sit down with the bank, they're gonna say, "Okay, Mr. Lewis, looks like you work at McDonald's here, and you're 15 or 16, because most places you got to be at least 16 to get your license. So let's say 17. You're working. You've been working for a year, so this is your second year at McDonald's, and you've saved up. You've saved up out of that $400. You said, all right. Well, your parents are saying, okay, next year you're going to get a car. You have to start saving money. This is the financial literacy part. And this is where I was going to make a change that we talked about before. I think it was $35 putting away. We're going to knock that down to $13 or $10. We're just going to keep it similar to that. But I need it to be low enough for MJ to do it. It would not be fair if I ask everybody to save up a certain amount every month and MJ is not working. Or Kristen. These guys are really young, so of course they don't have income. So how would they save it? I wasn't thinking before, but you guys can still do chores and earn something. Okay, you have to get into the work arena sometime. So if MJ, Kristen, and whoever else is not at the working age, then chores is your way of earning something. If it's raking leaves, washing the windows, vacuuming, whatever it is, it's helping you too, because a clean house is a God's house. So earn something, and then you're going to put away, just like right here for those who are working at McDonald's. Your check is $400. You really don't have any bills, okay? So you want to put away as much as you can out of that $400 to go toward your car next year, all right? So we're going to say that you're going to get a car that's $15,000. That's your limit. You have to set limits too, because you can, want everything and only a little bit of money. That's the bad way. That's how you get that low credit score, because you buy everything on credit or on your brand new credit and then destroy it before you're 21 years old. And it can be done. Shopping here, put it on the card, put it on this card. And now you got all these bills and don't pay none of them. Okay, don't do that way. So let's get back on topic. $400. Out of that 400, you're going to do what? You're going to put away some for your bank. All right, so bank and then car. So we know that you have a year to put away money to purchase your first car, and you make $400 a week. Okay, how much of that 400 are you going to put away for those 2 items, bank and car? I need to hear from you.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Okay. The question is, you work at McDonald's, you make $400 a week, you have two items to save for. One is the car for 15,000. The other one is your bank. Your bank. How much of that 400 are you going to put towards both things?
I would do $200.
Each?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you, MJ.
I would do $800 for my car and then $100 for the bank.
So 3 and 1.
Yes.
Okay. Kayla?
I would do 200 as well.
2 and 2?
Yes.
Okay. Jaden.
Hmm. I think I would do 200. It makes the most sense.
2 and 2. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your input. Now I'm going to show you how this works. Remember, they're going to ask a question. How much money do you make? Well, I make $400. How much do you have to put down? Well, I don't know. That's going to be your answer because you don't know yet. So let's do some math. The math that you're going to do is very simple. What's more important at the point? Your goal is to get 20% of 15,000. Your goal is to have the ability to walk in there and have 20%. So the first thing you want to do is find out what is 20% of 15,000. So we take 15,000 and multiply it by 20%. 15,000.
If I put sorry, sir, but if I put down $200 a week, that will be 10,400 for the year,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, MJ. You're right on it.
You
You're
said
on it.
sorry. You said 20% of 15,000?
Mm-hmm.
Is
That's
the answer
3,000.
3,000? Oh man.
Hmm?
Is 3,000 the answer?
Yes. All right. Perfect job, all of you. I want to give a huge thank you to Mr. MJ because he was the one that actually caught what I was getting at. If you're putting away $200 in each, you have $10,000 to work with. You're going after this car next year, not a couple weeks from now. You see how a play on words makes you think or look at numbers differently? What I need you to always do, and this goes for my adults too, because it's something that we don't do on a regular basis, is stop for a second and really analyze what it is you're buying. What are you buying and when do you need it? Because that right there will give you the debt to income ratio that you need to have to purchase that item without stress. And where I was going to go, MJ was already there. Take the 200 and multiply it by 52. What do you have? That's a question.
Is it
Is it
400?
400? Oh my goodness. Okay.
$10,000.
3,400? Oh,
Yes.
10,000.
Yes. 10,400. Now, for those of you that said, I'm going to put 10 or 200 in the bank, in my bank, and then 200 into the car. How much money do you really have at the end of the year?
I'm sorry, sir. Can you say that again?
You're putting $200 in the bank and $200 in your car savings for 52 weeks. How much money do you have in total?
$20,800.
Thank you, sir. Perfect. Perfect. Now, the car costs how much?
15,000.
Do you have the resources to purchase that car outright?
Yes.
See how that works? It didn't cost you anything. You're doing something weekly. Now, provided you can actually do that, would make all the difference. You would have to actually be making more than 400 because you still have to eat. You have to, do all these other things, especially if you're in college. Like I said, I'm going to pick on you. I'm getting to it. But for people like MJ, Krista, and whoever else is still, not in a work availability, yes, you could get that, and do that with it because you really don't have any bills. You're just going there, get your check, and come home, do your homework and all that. But you're going to spend money. Remember, I said friends cost money, you cost money. So you can't literally put 200 and 200 because that leaves you zero to do anything else with. And you're growing, you're going to need stuff. And the whole idea of working is to provide for yourself. Now, the bank can be used for your needs. The car savings is enough to have $10,400 when you go back to get a car. You're still going to get a car that's $15,000. May not be that same car that you looked at, but it'll be a car for $15,000. That is your cutoff point. Okay? Now, let's look at the debt to income ratio. What the bank's going to say when they see you have saved $10,400. Because you're going to put it in the bank. Remember, we're still talking banks until things change. Officially, we still have to talk bank. Remember the main account, sub account. The main account's going to get that $400, and then you're going to do what? You're going to take it to the two sub accounts. The first sub account is your bank. That means you have to purchase some type of crypto and then send it to your bank. The second account down, the next sub account is going to be car. You're going to name these accounts certain things, so you know what's going in there, what's happening with that account. So that car account is going to see $200 every week. Is it going to go in the checking or the savings? Where's it going to go? I want to see if you're paying attention. Where's it go? Every week it's going in there. Where's it going?
Savings.
Thank you. Saving. Period. Whenever you put something in one of those sub accounts, it's going to go into the savings account first. And when you need to use it, you move it to checking account and use it. Never let it sit in checking account, ever. That's the incorrect way to bank. Savings account, when you need it, you move it to checking and purchase whatever it is. If it's left in checking, people have access to it, including the bank. I want you to understand what I just said, because people lie. Companies lie. If it's in the checking account, not only do hackers and people that steal have access to it, because if you shop online, your number is online. Your checking account is online. Use a debit card to buy something, it's online, or it's somewhere out there, and people will find it. Also, the bank has access to your checking account. I've already said this before, and I'll repeat it so you understand that they will get you too. You'll get a call or what have you, and you'll notice that some funds just automatically left your account. Boop! Who got it? If you have the banks that I have, you either get a text or a phone call of fraud and loss. They use both words. You have to listen to the words. They tell you up front, you lost it. How did I lose it? And you have control over it. Fraud and loss. Fraud is hackers. Loss is bank. Yes, bank will take your money, but they'll put it back. They need to borrow it for a week. We'll go over that another time. So they have seen that you put away $200 every week for a year solid. They know how much money you have. You don't have to say anything. Because when you do a bank, when they run your credit, they're going to see deposits. When they run your credit, they're going to see that you have a bank account with $10,400 in it. Of course, they're going to try to get as much as they can out of you. They want a down payment. They want this. They want taxes and fees and all this. Okay, they see that 10,000. Trust me, they see it, and they want it. So now it comes up the question: you're gone for a year. You saved up all your money. You go back to the place. You sit down with the car dealer, and you say, "Okay, I want that one right there. It's right in the price range that I want. Tell me what warranties I have." Always think about what protection you have on whatever it is you're buying. Even if if it's a cup, on the bottom of the cup it'll say warranties. How long do they cover this car or this cup? You might have 60 days to return it for a full refund or an exchange. Those are warranties. Okay, never buy anything that doesn't have a warranty on it. I don't care what it is. Used computer, cell phones. If there's no warranties or something protecting your purchase, leave it there. Go to another store or choose another item, whatever. Do not ever, ever, ever purchase anything that does not have a warranty. And read the warranty. What does the warranty say? This is the other thing that we don't do or weren't taught to do. Well, you're taught to read, but they don't tell you what to read. Okay, if you're a good reader, great. Be the best reader. Because 9 times out of 10, when you go to buy something, there's a warranty. And they're not expecting you to read it. They just hand it to you. Say, okay, just sign, and we're over here, and this is how much you putting down. Never said anything about read the warranty. What does a warranty cover? When you're buying a car, you need to know that the thing is covered from front to back. Engine, transmission. Those are the main things. How many miles does it have? Take somebody with you when you go to get a car, especially a used one. Take someone who has mechanical knowledge. Okay? If you don't have that, somebody call me. But take somebody with you and read the warranty. That's how you protect yourself and your money. Remember, you save for a whole year for $10,000. You want to just give that away on something that's going to break 10 days after you buy it and no way to return it? No. Nope. You have to protect your investments. A car is an investment for your transportation for the next year or wherever, the next 5 years. If you take care of it, it'll take care of you. Change the tires, change the oil, keep it, maintenance on it. Make sure everything works. But before you do all that, read the warranty. What are they covering? What are they saying? Okay, Mr. Lewis, you're buying this car. It's 15.4. You're going to have let me look at your credit score. Your credit score is okay. Well, of course, I'm only 17 or whatever. You're not going to have an awesome credit score. You're going to have a very low one. You might need someone to co-sign. That's the other part where you really have to be on top of what you're doing, because now you have someone else's credit at jeopardy. And I'll say it just like that. You have someone else's credit that is signing the paperwork so that you can get this car at jeopardy. So if you don't pay for it, they have to. Keep that in mind. So you want to make sure your warranty covers the vehicle. What does it say? It covers the transmission, it covers the engine. You got all that for 90 days. After 90 days, it's on you. That's why I said don't get a $100,000 car your first time out. One, insurance is going to bury you. Two, you're going to make mistakes. You don't want to take a $100,000 car and go up the bushes or back into somebody or somebody back into you because you park way too close because you don't have your space set up yet. You don't know how to maneuver the vehicle into the parking spot where there's equal space on either side so the doors can open. If you're heavy to one side, you're close to them when they get ready to open their door. And everybody don't care about your car. Remember that. No one cares about your vehicle. That's the main thing. Now, let's go back to the credit score. So they're going to sit down with you, let's say mom, dad with you. They're watching, listening, making sure you're doing right. They're going to see that you read stuff. Be an adult, even if you're 17. You're making an adult decision to purchase something of great worth. I mean, 15,000 is not great, but it is if you don't have it. Always think, how much is this, and is it really more than I can handle? If I can handle it, I'm going to handle it on time. You already showed yourself that you can save because you were disciplined in putting $200 every week without fail into your account, to both accounts, if you are able to do so. So they're going to sit down and say, all right, well, your credit score right now at 17 is I think the lowest they can put on someone is a 350 or 400. That's usually where they start everybody, and they want to see what you do with it from there. So if you've been saving money, that's actually credit worthiness, and it'll bump it all just by doing that weekly, because everything is kept track of, especially in your finances. They watch. They keep track of what you do with money. So let's say you're 400, your credit scores are 400. So they say, okay, Mr. Lewis, well, you're at 400, and do you have a cosigner? Because you don't have the income or debt to ratio income to cover this vehicle. Even though they know you have 10,000 in the bank, they see you put it away. You actually have more than that. And you're going to say, well, yeah, mom, dad, somebody, one of y'all, can you help me? They're already going to help you. They knew they was going to help you when they got in the car to go. They just didn't know how much they was going to have to help. So the more you do on your side, the less they have to help. Follow me? Stay in control of your finances. That's why you're doing this weekly saving, learning how to use sub accounts, learning how to put funds away and leave them away. You have to stay disciplined on not spending everywhere every time you go somewhere. Because your finances are under your control. It's what you do with them at this point, which will show the credit bureaus how well you are prepared to handle your finances. There's 3 of them. They watch everything you do financially. So we're all sitting there, and dad says, okay, I'll sign. So he signs to back this whole transaction. Now, here comes the part, because I can't go too long. I want to keep these as short as possible. Here comes the part where the debt to ratio comes into play and the monetization. These 2 things happen at this desk at the car dealership that I told you about earlier. So they get all the way through the contract, or not yet, but they get all the way through agreement on what that's the car. Yes, good. Do you have your down payment? Yes, I have $3,000 I'm putting down on this car. And then they're going to say, well, do you have a bank account? Yes. They're going to give the bank account, get bank account information, and they're going to say, okay, Mr. Lewis, with the cosigner, your car note is going to be around. Now, remember, they see and have already seen your $10,400 in the account. They won't tell you they've seen it. They want to see how much of that they can get. They already got 3 of it because you committed to that with saying, yes, I have a down payment. Okay. So you have 7,400 left. With the cosigner, that's going to help reduce the amount of payment that you have to pay. So they're going to keep it good. They're going to say, well, this is your first car, so we're going to make sure you can handle it and make your payments. We see that you can save money and you use your bank account good. So we're going to make your car note, listen, your car note, watch this, $325. How much were you putting in the bank every week? 200. You see what just happened? They went over your savings amount that you have been doing for a solid year to make this transaction happen. They went over that by $125. They know what you're putting away because they could see it. So now they want some of that bank money that you were putting away. See how that works? Now, we're not going to worry about it. We're going to take the 325. You're going to say, yes, that's good. I can handle it. It's a little into my savings, but I'll manage. So now you have to decide, is a $325 car note going to work for you? Now, you won't have insurance yet because you're going to be on your parents' insurance. You won't be able to buy your own insurance at 17, I don't think. Don't let me speak because I'm not an insurance broker, so I don't know those questions. You would have to find out on your own. But if they allow you to buy it, then you have to factor that in. Now, being 17, brand new car, or not brand new, but a new car, new driver, you don't have any experience other than passing the driver's ed class. So they know that you're not proficient yet. So your insurance is going to be up here. Okay, out of the picture. You can't even see my hand, right? That's where your insurance is going to be. So that note by itself could be anywhere between 275 and 3 easy. So let's say it's 300 if you are able to purchase your own. Okay, if you are able to purchase your own. If not, then you would have to find out what your parents, because when they add you to their insurance, they're going to have a number that increased by. Whatever that number that the increase was by is your bill. You may not be paying the insurance company, but you have to put your funds to mom and dad to cover the increase that you just created. It's still your bill. All right. All right, so let's look at that. So now we're talking $625 is now dedicated to a vehicle. All right, debt to income ratio. So now we're eating $625 out of that $200 a week money. I'm not done yet. So now you have the car, you have the insurance. What else is involved with owning a vehicle? Maintenance. You have to get the oil changed, you have to get the tire, you have to buy tires, you have to clean it. Okay, so maintenance would be depending on how far you're driving, you have to add the gas. So let's say that the gas is $20 a week. So $20. Let's say to get the oil change, which has to be done every 5,000 miles. So every 5,000 miles, or some cars have a little gauge on it that tells you how low or when it's time to change your oil. That's $100. If you go to Valvoline, plug. If you go to Valvoline, it's $100. Or dad might teach you how to do it yourself. That's super cheaper because all you have to do is buy the oil and the oil filter. And that goes for the girls. You can learn how to do that stuff too. This way you're not dependent on someone or what have you, a damsel in distress. Learn how to get your hands dirty so you can take care of your own stuff. All right? Be independent fully. So either that, I know some of y'all don't want to get your nails dirty and all that stuff, but if you do, then you're saving $100. All right? If you don't, then you got to spend $100. That goes towards that car. I'm showing you these things so you can see how one thing can change your finances unless you know how to handle them. All right, so let's wrap this up. So that's $100 plus 20 plus we're 320, 625, 645, 745. $745 is your brand new bill. You have $1,000 already dedicated to one purchase. All right. Now, is it that every time? No. It's definitely going to be $625 because that happens every month. The oil you're going to change every now and again. Gas is every week, so it's going to fluctuate. But having that 200 go away every week, don't ever stop whatever you set up. If you set up the 200, leave it that. Don't change anything because when you change it, then you have changed everything. One, you still have $7,000 to pull that $625 from. Okay? On an auto debit, remember me saying the sub accounts? You're going to set up the car note to be paid automatically 3 days early. You're going to set up the insurance with mom and dad. Here, I'm just going to send over $300 once a month. Whenever they pay their bills, they pay their bills. But whatever it is that you owe, get it to them the same time every month. Do not change. That's your debt to ratio income, and that's how they watch your finances. Now, we're at the counter. I'm going to wrap it up after this. When you sit down to finalize the contract, I want you to remember what I'm getting ready to tell you. When you sit down and you say, okay, everything's agreed upon, mom and dad's cool, dad's going to co-sign or mom's going to co-sign, whichever, and you sit down and sign the contract. Remember what I said about your signature. It's worth millions. Don't ever forget that. Most adults have no idea what their signature is worth. They just put it on paper all over the place. Yeah, just sign right here. Sign, 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 sign. I want you to know what signing means. If you have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of paper in that contract. And on that contract is at the top, the car dealership. In the middle, or what they call the body of the letter. Body of letter means what the description of whatever it is you're doing. It's not always about a car. It's about what is being transacted on. The body says a 2017 Chevy Malibu that is 15, I think what it said, 15.4? 15.4. Okay, so you have the letterhead, the company name, the body, the description of the item, and then down at the bottom, or before I get to the bottom, description of the item and the price of it, 15.4, and then at the bottom, your signature. Okay, you sign it. All right. Now there's 5 of them, 5 documents. So I'm going to clear this out. We said $15,400 times 5. That is a total of $77,000 you just signed to that dealership, just in your signature. Because they're going to monetize. See how these 2 words came into play today? They're going to monetize every one of those documents, because on the document is the letterhead of the company, the body and price of whatever it is. It could be this car, it could be anything, whatever it is. If you're signing a contract for it, they're going to monetize those documents against the bond that you have over there on your Social Security number. So 5 documents, monetize them, all 5 of them. That dealership and that group of people, the bank and everything, collects $77,000 out of your bond that you have. Now, they're going to ask you to pay, what did I say? 600 or 325. All right. 325, they're going to probably, this is just scenario, but they're going to look at 5 years. They're only going to put you in a car for 5 years, maybe 10, maybe, depends. But either way, what you have to realize is the documents. What I want you to understand, and I want you to remember this conversation that we're having, the next time you sign something, know that it can be monetized for whatever amount is on the front of that document. It could be, I don't know, your parents because they had better jobs or they've been working longer. They bought that $70,000 vehicle. And there's going to be a lot more than 5 pages to that contract. And I guarantee you, on that contract, when they bought that $70,000 vehicle, it's going to say the letterhead of the company, the body, the price, and a signature. You see those 3 things? The letterhead of the company, the body and price, and your signature. Now, let's say there's 15, 20 pages to that contract for that $70,000 car. All right, so 15 pages times $70,000. They just got $1 million out of your account, $1,050,000. And people are like, man, no, they don't. They can't do that. Yes, they can. This is the part where we're not educated. And this is the part that I'm explaining to you. So now that you know, remember when I said, when they took you to the next room and they got your fingerprint or your handprint and your footprint, some people have that birth certificate, but you signed a document the day you were born. They monetized that document the day you were born, and it's been compounding, which is building on top of itself. The penny every day doubling, a penny doubling every day for 30 days is $5 million. So can you imagine what 500,000 compounding every day is at this stage of your life? Billions, literally. How do you think all these wars were funded? How do you think banks could just build buildings left and right? Now they're shutting them all down left and right, but they built them. How do you think things are built in this country and around the world? Companies being purchased. Who's buying them? You are. Your bond is facilitating money. So yes, they can take that contract, monetize every document that you signed for the amount on the face of the document. It becomes a bearer bond. The bearer of this signature makes it a bond that they can cash in. So the car was paid for before you even left the desk. Okay, that 15.4 was paid for with the first piece of paper you signed. Paid for in full. They know that. They didn't tell you. I'm telling you. So now you know. And that goes for everything else that you will do. Any of significant price that you have to sign a contract, every piece of paper is just like a check for the full amount. Remember it that way. Every time you sign, you're signing money. That's what you're worth. Remember the commodity that they own? A currency that they keep, that they control. Remember that? That was part of the call. You're the currency. Your signature is the currency. And as long as they have control of your mind and how you do things, they control it. It's when you get educated, is when they get scared of you. They don't like educated people. Sounds stupid, doesn't it? You go all the way through school getting educated. You go into college to get educated more. And when you get done, they don't like you because now they have to pay you. So if they're going to pay you, I assure you they're going to control you. How do they control you? By making you sign everything. The more times they can get you to sign, the more money they get out of you. I guarantee you, Jaden has signed her name probably 60 times since she's been in school. How close am I, Jaden? Either way, I'm sure I'm pretty close. So with that being said, now I dropped a lot on you today, and I knew I was, but financial literacy starts here. And the only way you're going to get better at it is to understand it, how it works, the ins and the outs of it, so that you can prepare yourself right now. So the change that I was going to make was we were supposed to be putting away $35 a month. So I'm changing that to $3.50 a day. $3.50 a day. That's either sweeping the floor, making beds, stuff you should be doing anyway, but you have to earn something so you can learn how to put it away and learn that whole mindset now. So not the $35 a month, because you guys aren't working. I wasn't thinking, but you can do something in the house, the neighborhood, or something like that to earn $3.50. Take that $3.50 and put it somewhere every day. So you have to earn $3.50. I took the $35 and just took a zero off. $3.50. Get a mason jar. That's going to be your bank if you don't have a bank account. If you have a bank account like I think MJ has, put it in the bank. Do it weekly. Of course, you don't want to go every day to the bank. $3.50 a day. So you have to do something. Don't just ask mom and dad for it because you haven't earned it by just asking for it. And I do not want you in that mindset. That's what's messing a lot of us up. Oh, I'll just get it from them. And you didn't earn it. So it's really not yours. Do not ask for money. That's begging, even if it's from mom and dad. Do something for it and be rewarded for it. That builds character. That builds mindset of earning and saving or putting things. Be in charge of your finances. Be aware of how it works. If you just ask, Mom, can I have $3.50? You put it in a jar and put it in the dirt outside. What did you just do? Oh, I made it easy. What did you learn? Nothing. If you just go ask somebody for money, you're begging, number one, which is a disgrace. Don't ever beg. I don't care. I see kids do it all the time. Can I have $5? For what? Earn it. There's plenty of things you could do. You don't always have to have a job to get money. There's sweeping. There's picking up trash. Oh, that's nasty. Use gloves. Whatever you can do, do that to earn the $3.50. Put it in a jar at the end of the week. Mom, dad, or while you guys are out, do your transaction or your banking practice. That's depositing your week's worth of $3.50 into one or two accounts. If you're not doing it, you can verbalize it so that you remember what you said. I'd like this much in my basketball camp account, and I need this much in my savings account or for bank. Always have one for bank, okay? Because we're going to eventually be over here permanently, but put money for it so you can start putting things in it. Outside of whatever that is, always have something going to the bank, your bank, because eventually, like I said, you're going to come out of there. So let's look at that real quick. $3.50. Nope, wrong button. $17.50 for the day, for the week. at $3.50. So you have to earn at least $3.50 every day. Because you can't do one thing to get $17.50. No one's going to pay that. So you have to do small pieces. This is teaching you how to earn it. You respect your money better when you earn it versus, hey, Mom, can I have $17.50? Yep, here, I'll put it in the bank. What did you learn? One, you're going to get fat because you're not doing anything. You're sitting around. Two, you learn to be lazy. And that's not why you're in this class. You're in this class for financial literacy. That's learning how to deal with your money. Because eventually, when you move out and get in your own place, there is no more, Mom, can I have $17.50? No. You have to go to work. You have to earn it. You have to put it away. Okay? All right, we're going to cut it right there. Question? Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Lewis. Earlier you called my name and asked me about how many times I've had to sign my signature. I couldn't come off of mute, so I apologize about that.
No problem.
But I haven't necessarily signed anything. I've been printing my name instead, hence my mother. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was my mom who was making me print my name because, I've been used to signing my signature for a lot of different things. And I'm not really sure how to avoid it with DocuSign. There's not really any options for me to print my name. It's usually just signatures on there, so I haven't really been able to avoid that on the internet. But physically, I've been printing my name.
Okay, either way, you could do an X. But if it's done by your hand, it's still a signature. So all I was asking was, how many times have you done that process? How many times have you X a contract of some sort since you've been there?
Oh, I haven't put an X per se, but I think it was only once when I moved into my apartment.
Okay. All right, so that was once. And what about school?
School, I haven't signed anything yet. I'm still, getting into the groove of being back out here. So I haven't signed anything yet.
It's coming. It's coming. So what I was getting at, and thank you, by the way, Jaden. What I was getting at, that whatever you put on the paper, it is an action of you and it and agreeing to it. Be it signature, print, whatever. If you make an action on that piece of paper, they monetize it because it's your action, and they're going to want it in blue ink, some sort. DocuSign, same thing. That's a legal signature. If you look at the terms and agreement on DocuSign, whatever mark you make there is your signature, and it will be accepted as such so that they can monetize it. Trust me, they have all backed that. You're just learning some new stuff about what it means to sign something or to agree to something. If it's with an institution of any sort, they're going to monetize it. That's the game. Now you have a step up on the game. Not only can you protect yourself with knowing this information, you will also be able to do the same thing they're doing. That's going to be another class where you're going to self-monetize. All right. Any other questions?
So do you think so I know that the state and, basically the government of the entire country is monetizing off of our signatures. And you just answered the question that the schools monetize as well. Do you think they're making the same amount of money that the government would be making, or less because it's a school?
Whatever the body of that contract states, let's say your tuition, don't put that out. Let's say your tuition is $80,000. Okay.
Mhm.
And that's, what is it, 4 semesters? How many semesters is it? In
It's
a
2
1 year?
semesters,
2
but
semesters.
4 quarters.
So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, right?
Yeah,
6.
because yeah, like I said, it's 9 weeks per quarter. So that's equivalent to 2 semesters.
All right. So you're talking 8 times. So we'll go, let's say the jury was 80,000 times 8. Nope, that didn't work. Wait, I had too many things in there. 80,000. $640,000 is what they signed off of you.
Oh, wow.
That's what they got. So, like I said, when you find out things and when you learn these things, now that you guys know, like I said, it's not over yet, sweetheart. You're gonna have to sign some more, and don't be reluctant to sign. You have to. You have to finish. Just sign it. It's not yours anyway. You can't get to it. Hillary Clinton, Miss Clinton, seen to that. So none of us will ever see that bond money that they created on us when we were born. You'll never see it. That's what they're pulling anyway. So I want you to know what they have done and are doing. You can't change it yet, but having the knowledge and understanding of how the game works helps you protect yourself. So if they're going to do the same thing, like I said, the next probably a couple classes out, I'm going to show you how to self-monetize with this. You're going to self-monetize your own name, your own accounts. You're going, whatever you're doing, you're going to get just as much as they do and put it away. Okay, so that's going to be a couple classes out. There's still some things I need you to know about how to work with banks and what have you. But thank you, Jaden. Anybody else? Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
When going into purchasing a car, do you think we should ask the question, do you monetize documents? And if they
No.
say yes, oh,
No.
no?
No.
Okay.
This information is for your knowledge only. Like I said, you can't change what they have already set up. You can't change it. I want you to know what they're getting. Okay? The only
Okay.
thing you can talk to them about is trying to keep your payment as low as possible. Let them stretch it out 10 years, whatever. Because at a certain point, when you get working with this and working with a Promise Delivered and Team Royal, you're going to walk back in there and say, you know what? You're not in there, but you're going to call the finance company that the car is financed under. You're going to call them up and say, ma'am, what's the payoff on my vehicle? They're going to, give you this number and you say, can you fax or email that to me, please? They'll say, sure. You're going to get a document in your email that shows what? Letterhead of the company, body, the price, and a signature. Here we go again. So what you're going to do different is when you get this document in the mail, you're going to look at that price. Let's say that you owe $13,200. You're going to do a check for $13,200 and mail it to them. Return receipt. Okay, this is how you use the postal service in your benefit. You're going to get a return receipt, which means when they get that letter, they have to sign for it. See, sign. They have to sign. Guess what? Now you have proof that that car is paid for. If it is not taken off of your credit report in 15 days, now watch, this is how you monetize yourself. You're going to send back a letter, an email to that finance company, and you're going to request that they close the account as a paid in full in 15 days. Why do you do that? Because if they don't do it in 15 days, you can now charge them. We'll get into that. That's what they do to you. Be late and see how they charge you every, I think it's every 3 days that you don't pay that car note. They can add a late fee, a late fee, a late fee. Then they start trashing your credit. Oh, to see, I knew they wouldn't pay for it. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. Charge them, charge them. Every week, they're going to hit you. That's monetizing. You're going to play the same game. You're going to pay it off in full. Boom, pay it off. Then you're going to give them a letter. You have 15 days to remove that or close that account, paid in full. Or there will be a charge against that finance company for the car note amount every day. So you got to play their own game. That's called monetizing your own. But I'll teach you how to do that later. Don't do that now. Don't get all riled up, but you can do that. You have that right. Okay? You need the account closed so that you get credit for paying off that vehicle. But you only give them 15 days to do it. That's a week and a day. A week and a day you can charge. I'll teach you that later. Any other questions?
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Yes, sir. You muted yourself.
Once it enters into your checking account, do you always move it to the savings?
Yes, sir.
Then set up the sub account and name them?
Correct.
For example, car payment savings, Xbox purchases, stuff like that.
So let's say for you right now, it would be just the basics. So you would have your main account, and that $3.50 every day, $17.50, what was it, 17, whatever it was, will go to your main account into the savings, and you're going to open up your sub accounts, which would be bank, right now for you, a car would not be your first objective. Could be, if you want, you can start saving for it. How old are you again? 10, 11?
And yeah.
So you have 6 years before you can even get a license. Now watch this, and this is not to degrade. I want you to see the power in that and what you're learning today. Let's say out of that $17.50, we take $12. We're going to put $12 in the account for your car for 52 weeks. That's 1 year. At $12. That's $624. Doesn't sound like a lot of money, right? Now we multiply that times 6. You got at least 6 years. you have $3,744. You have your $3,000, 20% down for your car off of $12. See how that works? Now, of course, each year, you're 10 now, so next year, you can do a little more around the house or something else and earn a little more. But I'm just going off of the $3.50. If that's all you do, if that's all you work up between now and 16, you still have almost $4,000 ready for your down payment. Now you're not going to stay at $3.50. Okay, so none of you are. This is to start you out. Each year you're going to either double that or whatever you can do. Don't start doing more stuff than you are homework. Don't get me twisted on that, because I'll get upset if you try to get more money in your accounts and whatnot and start failing on your school. School first, education first. All right, that all means nothing if you don't know anything. This is just extra curriculum. That's what this is. All right, so each year, instead of $3.50, you can go up, double it. Three and a half is what? $7. So $7 a day. You have to add to it, because just like any job that you get, the longer you're there, you get raises, you get more. This is no different. This is just saving, and you're working. You're doing something. Each year that you go, like right now, you may not be able to do too much outside of household chores. When you're 11, pretty much same. When you get around that 12, 13, you can start doing something, cutting some grass. You know, I'm sure you know how to cut grass now, but the older you get, the more you'll be able to do, and the more you'll be able to put it away. Always keep your numbers even, okay? Try to put away the same in each account. So whatever it is you're earning, you know, if there's cents in there, spend that. Go buy some bubble gum or something. But put even numbers away. It's easier to calculate. You start putting cents, 14 cents, 30, whatever. You can spend some money. So the cents you get to spend. All right, that's a freebie. Get a pizza or something. But the solid dollars, make them even as possible, and always hit both accounts. Your main account and your bank account. This bank account, you're going to put crypto up or whatever later on once you have your wallet, or your storage. But you're going to put those two things, those two items, even as possible. And each year, you do more, you put more. You have 6 years right now before you get driver's license. So the more you do between today and 6 years from now will gauge how that works and how well that works for you. Okay? Good? I'll take that as a yes. Any other question?
Mr. Lewis, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Lovely Hillary Clinton did what she had to do to block, with her faithful husband, to block the accounts. How is it? So only businesses have access to these accounts?
Mhm.
Okay, all right, that was my question.
Yeah.
So she blocked it for individuals to not have access.
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Because if you had access, they wouldn't, and you would be extremely prosperous right now, and you would own stuff around the world because that's where your name is.
Right.
You would own things that they have been using to do nefarious things with. you would take ownership of it. They don't want that.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you again.
You're welcome. All right. I think I have covered everything. We don't have any homework outside of understanding of what today's call was. So enjoy this week. I can assure you next week's call is going to be heavy. Okay, because there's 4 things that I hit in just this call that are classes by themselves. Okay.